Everyone, how is everyone doing? Welcome to my channel. My name is Tina. I hope you guys are all doing well. Today I have project share for Creative Pad store on Aliexpress. I will have a link to everything I'm going to show you guys today in the description box below if you're interested. The first ephemera pack I worked with, it's called Holiday Inn. I made 2 cards using this and I will go through each card separately. This is all you get in here, and there is 2 of each image, and I have plenty left. So for my first card, I used the jellyfish, the little mermaid, the sentiment sending good vibes your way, and the 2 starfish. And this is the card that I made. My card base is white. I put down this bluish green cardstock, and I brought a couple of dies from my stash. So I brought this wave die and I put it down flat. I brought this frame die cut it in gold glitter cardstock, and I just elevated a little bit with thin foam tape. I die cut it this reef with jelly printed paper, and I die cut a couple of fishes in 2-tone. I put the jellyfish here flat, and as you can see, I fussy cut all my ephemera pieces. So I fussy cut around the jellyfish, the little mermaid, and I like doing that. I don't like the white borders too much. And the sending good vibes your way, I elevated that with foam tape, and I put the 2 starfish here, and I put blue and clear gems. For my second card, I used the flamingo. I used the 2 hibiscus flowers, this gold leaf, and for my sentiment, I used this tag that says, "Note to self, relax." And this is the card that I made. So my card base, I did white. I put down this pink pattern paper, and it's got tropical leaves. I brought Polaroid die cut from my stash, and I backed it up with a watercolor cardstock that I just did very simple watercoloring. I popped the flamingo here with foam tape, and again, as you can see, fussy cut around the flamingo, the leaf, the flowers. One of the flowers I popped with foam tape, the other one I put flat, and the leaf I put flat behind the flower. I brought these leaves from my stash, die cut them in blue just so that they're cohesive. And here is that sentiment tag. I put it down flat, put a little bow, and I put blue and pink heart here and one pink one here. For my next cards, I use this ephemera pack. This one is called Frozen World. So I went from summer to winter. And these are all the ephemeras that you get. So again, 2 of each, and I made 2 cards. So for my first card, I used this circle that has a scene on it. I used this tiny little snowman, this guy that's skiing, and for my sentiment, I used Happy Weekend. And this is the card that I made, very simple. My card base is white. I put down as my matting layer this bluish green cardstock. And I took this pattern paper that has trees on it, and the trees is very similar color to the background. So I just cut it 1/4 inch smaller. I cut a strip from the same cardstock as my bottom layer, and I just put it this way. Die cut it a white circle, put my scene on it. And here is the little snowman. And the guy on the ski, I just popped them with foam tape. And I just brought these silver leaves from my stash, tucked them behind the circle. Here is the Happy Weekend. I just backed it up with the same bluish green cardstock, and I just fussy cut around it. And I put a couple of gems. For my second card, I used this banner. I used 2 houses this little girl, she's so cute, this tree, and for my sentiment, I use it's winter time. And I fussy cut around most of them. And this is the card that I made. It turned out so cute. My card base is white. I put down this paper that has wood grain. And then I took a white cardstock and I took a little snowflake stamp and I just stamped it here and there. There is like 2 sizes and I did it in blue. I put blue cardstock on each side just to separate the wood grain from the white cardstock. I stamped and colored 2 trees from my stash and then stuck them down here. And I popped the 2 houses with foam tape, put this tree in the middle, and I popped the banner as well. I put the little girl here with foam tape, and here is the sentiment. I just put it down flat and I put 2 snowflakes. For my next set of cards, I use this ephemera pack. This one is called Good Fortune. And this is all that you get in here. And I did do 2 cards. So for my first card, I used this rocking horse, but I cut up the rocking part so it becomes a unicorn. That's what I'm gonna call it. And I use this rainbow. And this is the card that I made. My card base is white. I put down this pattern paper with the rainbows and I just cut it 1/8 of an inch smaller. I brought this die from my stash and I die cut it in metallic pink. Put the rainbow here flat and I just fussy cut around the horse or the unicorn. Popped it on foam tape so it's elevated. I brought 1 cloud die from my stash and I stamped on it, I believe in you, in pink. I put a little bow here and I just punched out gold and the same pink, metallic pink stars, and I put them here and there. So very simple. For my second card, I use this fairy girl. I use the house, the little cat, this little mouse that's holding a strawberry, and for my sentiment, I use real and true friendship. And this is the card that I made, and I love how this turned out. So my card base, I did white. I took a white cardstock, and I have the strawberry stamp in my stash, and I just made my own background, stamping it here and there, and I just colored it. Very simple coloring with the pinks and green, just to match the little mouse's strawberry that's his holding. And I die cut it a rectangle in white, popped it with foam tape. I put a little grass here. I put foam tape behind the little fairy and I fussy cut around them all. Fussy cut around this little cat, put him down here flat. The house I tucked behind the grass and I popped the little mouse as well. And here is the sentiment, real and true. I put that flat, and the friendship I elevated. And I brought these little sequin from my stash that's pink and green, that and its heart. I put couple here and there. For my next set of cards, I use this ephemera pack. This one is called Viva La Branch. Again, I made 2 cards, and here is all that you get in here. For my first card, I use this little puppy. I use this mushroom and this bow. And this is the card that I made. My card base is white. I put down this pattern paper, and it's kind of like a peachy pink. I brought gold cardstock and I just cut a strip and I put it down here on the corner. Die cut it this circle that has scallop edges in peach color, and then I die cut it a round circle in white. Put a piece of grass here, tuck the mushroom behind the grass, pop the little puppy here with foam tape, And I took a little yellow cardstock and I just did some ink blending on it to make it seem like a sun. I stamped I Woof You. I put the bow here, and I put a couple of peach and clear heart stickers. For my second card, I used this teapot, this stack of teacups, and for my sentiment, I used the word happiness. And this is the card that I made. My card base is white. I have a couple of layers here. So I put down navy blue cardstock as my first layer. I cut up this cardstock a 1/8 of an inch smaller, and I just put them down flat. I took a white cardstock and I brought a teacup stamp from my stash, and I just did a random in 2 tones of ink, and teal green and navy blue to match the background. And I just went around it to make my own background. There is also the word tea, so I stamped it here and there. I matted it with the same navy blue cardstock as the bottom layer. Before I stuck it down, I put this ribbon, teal ribbon, on the bottom, so the teapot and the teacups are not floating. And I popped them with foam tape. I put the glue down the word happiness on the same navy blue cardstock, and I just fussy cut around it. And I put navy blue and teal green enamel dots. For my next set of cards, I use this ephemera pack. This one is called Vintage 1960s. And here is all the ephemeras. And I did do 2 cards. For my first card, I also brought this stamp set just to use this cactus tree. So for my first card, I used the word hippie, and I just went with my X-Acto knife and I took out the extra white spaces. I did the same with the peace sign. And I used this little van and this set of 2 luggages. And here is the card that I made. My card base, I did craft color. I put down this pattern paper. It looked like a desert, so I thought this will suit what I had in mind. I stamped and fussy cut 2 of the cactus tree in 2 different greens. I colored it, and I just put one flat, one I elevated with foam tape. Here is that minivan. Again, I elevated it with foam tape, and I put the suitcases on top, and I put the word hippie up here and the little peace sign. So for my second card, along with this Vintage 1960s ephemera pack, I brought this BU ephemera pack. This is an older pack that I had, just to get the little fox out of here. And these will go together very well. So here is all the pieces that I used for my second card. Here is that little fox. I used this cassette player, this fire, the tent, this little bird, and the free spirit. Again, I fussy cut around all of them. And this is the card that I made. So my card base is white. I put down this pattern paper, and to me it looked like kind of like a sky that's going dark, so I like that. I brought this hill die from my stash and the tree die. I cutted the trees with jelly printed paper. I elevated the hill with foam tape so I can tuck the trees and the tent behind it. I put the cassette here next to the fox that I elevated with foam tape. I put the little fire here, and I elevated the bird. And here is that free spirit sentiment. For my next set of cards, I use this ephemera pack. Now this one doesn't have a name, but I'm gonna call it self-care or good vibes, because it's all about self-care and good vibes. And this is all the ephemera pieces. and I did 2 cards again. So for my first card, I used this girl, I used this vase and the word hello, and I fussy cut around them all. And this is the card that I made. Again, I kept it really simple. My card base is white. I put down this pattern paper, and I just brought a purple, and it's got shimmer, the purple paper. I don't know if the camera's catching it, just to match the purple that's in the background. And I just put a strip here on the corner. I die cut it this oval in white and popped it with foam tape. Fussy cut around the vase, the girl, and the hello. I popped the girl with foam tape so she's elevated, and I put the vase down flat, the hello down flat, and I brought gold and purple gems. For my second card, I used this hand ephemera and this flower. I fussy cut around them both. I fussy cut around this hand, and I just put a little slit here so I can tuck the flower, and I didn't want this banner kind of, so I just fussy cut around it. And this is the card that I made. My card base is white. I put down this pattern paper 1/8 of an inch smaller than my card base. And then I took a gold cardstock. I put a strip this way, cut a banner from the same gold cardstock, and I put on this corner. I brought this shape from my stash, die cut it in white, and I elevated it with foam tape. I put the hand holding the flower flat. I just put a bow here with a twine, stamp thinking of you, and I just fussy cut around that as well. And I put peach and gold sequin. And my last 2 set of cards, I used this Hazy Mirage Ephemera pack. And this is all the ephemera. And I did 2 cards, as I said. So for my first card, I used this Polaroid. And when I saw this lady, it reminded me of Graphic 45. So I had to take out my Graphic 45 paper, and I used this little butterfly. And this is the card that I made, and I turned it into a shaker. So my card base is off-white, and I put down this gold mirror cardstock as my first layer. I brought this Graphic 45 paper, and I cut it 1/4 of an inch smaller than my gold cardstock. The Polaroid was too white, so I just did some gold ink splattering on it, so it's not too white. And I put a acetate and put foam tape around it so I can fill it with my shaker bits, and I did gold and red stars in it. I put the little butterfly here flat, and the lady, again, I fussy cut around her. And I brought, for my sentiment, I brought this sticker from the Tim Holtz book. It's Shine Like the Stars. I backed it up with the same gold cardstock, and I just put a couple of gold stars here and there. And this is the last card for today. I only have one ephemera here because I used the 2 of everything. So my card base is white. I have a couple of layers here, and I'm gonna try to explain as best as I can. I put down this pattern paper, 1/8 of an inch smaller than my card base. And I just looked inside the pattern paper to see the colors. So I brought a navy blue cardstock, put a strip here, and I brought rose gold cardstock, and I just put a strip here, rectangle strip. Die cut it this stitch rectangle in white so I can put my arrangement on it. So everything is down flat. The 2 flowers in navy blue, I put down flat. This white flower that I had here, I put a foam tape behind it so I can tuck some leaves. And these 2 leaves, these 2, I just die cut it from the bottom because it was too long, and I just tucked them behind the white. And I brought these sleeves from my stash. I die cutted some in rose gold, the same rose gold, and some in navy blue. Put them here and there. Die cutted the word thanks in the two-tone, again in the rose gold and the navy blue. And I just did a little offset them so that they look like a shadow. And I punched out from the same navy blue and the rose gold couple of round circles with my punch, and I put 3 here and 1 here. So that was it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. Until next time, have an awesome day, you guys. Bye.